Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. The massive room was filled with aliens from hundreds of worlds. Some looked like giant bugs. Others were made of crystal or metal. A few were just floating clouds of gas. They all stared down at him from their high seats. Jake had been coming to these meetings for 10 years. Every time it was the same story. The aliens wanted something from Earth. They always took what they wanted. They never gave anything back. Today was different. Today Jake was angry. The human representative will now explain their latest technology, said Council Prime Zektar. The alien looked like a giant lizard with too many eyes. His voice was cold and mean. Jake stepped forward. Behind him, Dr. Lisa Turner held a small device. It was Earth's newest invention, a quantum drive that could move ships faster than anything in the galaxy. We invented this drive to help our people explore space, Jake said. His voice was steady, but everyone could hear the anger in it. It took us 20 years to build. It cost us billions of credits. Zektar waved one of his clawed hands. Yes, very nice. The Council has decided this technology will be shared with all member worlds. You will give us the plans today. Jake felt his hands make fists. And what do we get in return? The honor of serving the greater good, said another alien. This one looked like a walking tree. Humans should be happy to help their betters. Dr. Lisa Turner stepped up next to Jake. She was shaking with anger. We spent years making this. Our scientists worked day and night. Many of them died in the testing accidents. And you want us to just give it away? That is correct, Zektar said. He sounded bored. The Council has spoken. Humans will provide the quantum drive technology to all Council worlds. You have 1 day to deliver the plans. Jake looked around the room. Not one alien spoke up for Earth. Not one said this was wrong. They all just stared at him like he was something they found on the bottom of their shoes. This was not the first time. 5 years ago, the Council had taken Earth's medical technology. They said it was needed to fight a plague on the core worlds. Earth gave them everything. The plague was stopped in a week. Earth never got paid. The aliens kept using human medicine and sold it to other worlds for huge profits. 3 years ago, it was Earth's farming methods. A dozen alien worlds were starving. Earth taught them how to grow food in space. The aliens learned everything they could. Then they stopped talking to Earth. Now those same aliens were the biggest food sellers in the galaxy. Last year, the Council took Earth's mining robots. They said it was an emergency. Pirates were attacking the mining worlds. Earth's robots could work in dangerous places where others could not. The pirates were stopped. The mining worlds kept the robots. Earth got nothing. Now they wanted the quantum drive. Jake knew what would happen. The aliens would take it. They would make copies. They would sell it to everyone. In a few years, every world in the galaxy would have quantum drives except Earth would get nothing for inventing it. No, Jake said. The word fell into the Great Hall like a bomb. All the aliens stopped talking. The room became completely quiet. What did you say? Zektar asked, his many eyes all focused on Jake. I said no. Earth will not give you our quantum drive technology. Zektar stood up. He was huge, almost twice as tall as Jake. You forget yourself, human. The Council decides what is best for all. You are just one small world. Jake smiled, but it was not a happy smile. We are one small world that has given you everything. Our technology keeps your worlds running. Our medicine keeps your people alive. Our food feeds half the galaxy. Our ships fight your wars. And you are honored to serve, said the tree alien. Honored? Jake laughed. We are slaves. We do all the work. You take all the profits. When there is danger, you send human soldiers to die first. When there is glory, you take it for yourselves. Doctor, Lisa Turner activated a small recorder. Let the record show that Earth has formally requested fair payment for our quantum drive technology. We ask for mining rights to the worlds we discovered. We ask for a share of profits from technologies we invented. We ask to be treated as equals in this council. Denied, Zektar said without even thinking about it. Humans will provide the technology as ordered. This meeting is over. Jake looked around the room one more time. 200 years ago, Earth had joined the Galactic Council with hope. They thought they would be partners with advanced civilizations. Instead, they became the workers while everyone else became the bosses. No, Jake said again. We will not give you our technology. We will not mine your worlds for free. We will not fight your wars while you sit safely at home. We will not be your slaves anymore. He turned to Dr. Lisa Turner. Send the message to Earth. Tell President Rodriguez it is time. Lisa nodded and pressed a button on her device. Across space, faster than light, a signal raced toward Earth. It was only 3 words long, but those 3 words would change everything. Operation Independence begin. The aliens started shouting. They demanded to know what the message meant. They ordered Jake to explain himself. They threatened Earth with punishment. Jake just smiled and walked toward the exit. Lisa walked beside him. As they reached the door, Jake turned back to face the council. You want to know what that message means? He asked. It means we quit. Earth is leaving the Galactic Council. We are taking our technology with us. We are bringing our people home. Good luck running the galaxy without us. The door closed behind them. In the Great Hall, the aliens sat in shocked silence. They had never imagined that humans would dare to leave. They thought Earth needed them. Soon, they would learn the truth. The galaxy needed Earth far more than Earth needed the galaxy. The breaking point had come. Now everyone would see what happened when you pushed humans too far. President Amy Rodriguez sat in her office on Earth. The blue planet turned slowly outside her window. She had been waiting for Jake Morrison's message for months. When it came, she was ready. Get me General Rick Thompson, she said to her assistant. Within minutes, the general walked into her office. He was a big man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had been planning for this day for 2 years. The message came from Jake, Amy said. It's time to bring everyone home. Rick nodded. I have ships ready to launch. We can start the recall in 6 hours. Amy pressed a button on her desk. Across Earth, emergency meetings began. Scientists, military officers, and government leaders all got the same message. Operation Independence was starting. Dr. Steve Parker was in his lab when the call came. He had been working on Earth's defense systems for months. His job was to make sure no alien ships could attack Earth during the withdrawal. How long do you need? Amy asked him over the video call. The defense network is ready now, Steve said. Any alien ship that comes near our solar system will be stopped. They won't be able to get close to Earth. Amy nodded. Good. We need to protect our people while they come home. Across the galaxy, humans began getting messages on their personal communicators. The message was simple but clear. All humans must return to Earth immediately. This is not a drill. Pack only what you need. Ships are coming to get you. Commander Nina Foster was on a space station near the Vega system. She commanded a fleet of human transport ships. Her job was to pick up human families from alien worlds. How many people do we need to move? She asked her second officer, Captain Ben Harris. Ben looked at his computer screen. 2 million humans live on alien worlds. Another million work on space stations. We have transport ships that can carry 50,000 people each. That means 60 trips, Nina said. We need to move fast. The aliens won't like this. She was right. On the trading world of Kepler Prime, alien officials tried to stop humans from leaving. You have contracts, said the alien trademaster. He looked like a giant octopus with metal arms. You cannot break your agreements. Watch us, said Mary Johnson. She was a human engineer who had worked on Kepler Prime for 10 years. She packed her tools and walked toward the human transport ship. The alien blocked her way. If you leave, we will report you to the Galactic Council. You will never work in space again, Mary laughed. The Galactic Council can report me to their mothers for all I care. I'm going home. Behind her, 500 other humans walked toward the ships. They carried their families and their belongings. The aliens could only watch as the humans left. On the mining world of Titan 7, the situation was worse. The alien mine owners had made the human workers sign slave contracts. They said the humans could never leave without paying huge fees. "You owe us 50,000 credits each," said the mine boss. He was a rock-like creature with glowing red eyes. "Pay the fee or stay and work." The human miners looked at each other. They had families back on Earth. They had spent years digging valuable metals out of the ground for almost no pay. "Here's your fee," said Bob Miller. He was the leader of the human miners. He picked up his plasma cutter and aimed it at the mine boss. "Back away from the ship." The alien stepped aside quickly. Plasma cutters were designed to cut through solid rock. They would cut through aliens just as easily. The humans boarded their transport ship and left. Behind them, the mines stopped working. Without human workers, the alien mine owners had no way to get the valuable metals out of the ground. This same scene played out on hundreds of worlds. Humans left their jobs and went home. Alien businesses stopped working. Alien governments panicked as their best workers disappeared. But the real problem started when Earth began shutting down its infrastructure. Dr. Lisa Turner was in charge of the most important part of the withdrawal. She controlled Earth's quantum communication network. This network allowed instant communication across the entire galaxy. "Start shutting down the relay stations," she told her team. One by one, the quantum communication relays went dark. These stations had been built by humans and maintained by human engineers. Without them, it would take years for messages to travel between distant worlds. "The aliens are starting to panic," reported Captain Ben Harris. He was monitoring alien communications. "They're trying to contact their colony worlds, but the signals aren't getting through." "Good," Lisa said. "Let them see what it's like without human technology." The next thing to go were the jump gates. These devices allowed spaceships to travel quickly between star systems. Humans had built most of them and maintained all of them. Steve Parker sat in Earth's defense control room. His job was to shut down the jump gates in the right order. "Start with the outer rim gates," he told his technicians. "Work your way toward the core worlds." As each jump gate shut down, travel times between worlds increased dramatically. A trip that used to take days now took months. Trade slowed to a crawl. Military fleets found themselves trapped in remote systems. The final blow came when Earth recalled its military forces. General Rick Thompson was in contact with human military units across the galaxy. These forces had been fighting alien wars. For decades, "All human ships and personnel will return to Earth immediately," he ordered. "Leave your alien allies to fight their own battles." Admiral Jake Morrison had returned from the Galactic Council. He took command of the largest human fleet in space. "What about the war against the Nexus pirates?" asked one of his officers. "Not our problem anymore," Jake said. "The aliens wanted to be in charge, let them handle their own security." The human warships began leaving their positions. They had been protecting trade routes and alien colonies. Without them, pirates and raiders began attacking undefended targets. On Earth, President Amy Rodriguez watched the reports come in. The withdrawal was working better than they had hoped. "The aliens are starting to realize what they've lost," she said to General Thompson. "It's only been 3 days," Rick replied. "Wait until they see what happens next week." Amy nodded. For 200 years, Earth had been the backbone of galactic civilization. Humans had built the infrastructure that kept everything running. They had maintained the technology that made modern space travel possible. They had fought the wars that kept the peace. The aliens had taken all of this for granted. They thought humans were just eager servants who were grateful for the chance to work for their betters. Now the aliens would learn the truth. Without humans, their advanced civilization would collapse. But Earth would be fine. Better than fine, actually. All those resources that had been flowing to alien worlds would now stay on Earth. All those brilliant human minds that had been solving alien problems would now work for humanity. Amy looked out her window at the blue sky of Earth. Somewhere, up there, the last human transport ships were bringing their people home. "Welcome back," she whispered. "We missed you." The great withdrawal was almost complete. Soon, Earth would be alone in the universe, and the aliens would finally understand. how much they needed humanity. Council Prime Zektar stood in his private chambers on the capital world of Centaurus. Through his window, he could see the great city that ruled the galaxy. But something was wrong. The lights were dimmer than usual. The flying cars moved slower. Even the giant screens that showed news from across space were flickering. "Report," he said to his assistant, a small gray alien named Vix. Vix looked scared. "The situation is getting worse, Prime. The quantum communication network is completely dead. We cannot contact our colonies on the outer rim." Zektar felt cold fear in his stomach. "What about the core worlds?" "We can still reach them, but it takes days instead of seconds. The emergency channels are flooded with distress calls." On his desk, a red light started blinking. That meant urgent news from the Trade Council. "Put Trade Minister Velnoth through," Zektar ordered. The screen showed Velnoth's worried face. The alien looked like a walking fish with too many fins. Usually he was calm and confident. Today he looked terrified. "Prime, we have a crisis," Velnoth said. "Trade across the galaxy has stopped. The merchant ships cannot navigate without the human-built jump gates. Food shipments are not reaching the inner worlds. Industrial materials are stuck on mining planets." "How long until the stockpiles run out?" Zektar asked. "The core worlds have maybe 2 weeks of food. The outer colonies will starve in days." Zektar closed his eyes. This was happening too fast. When the humans left 3 weeks ago, he thought it would cause minor problems. He never imagined it would threaten the entire galactic civilization. "What about our own ships?" he asked. "Can't we maintain the trade routes ourselves?" Velnoth made a sound like a sick fish. "That's the worst part, Prime. Our ships used human navigation systems. Our pilots trained on human equipment. Without the humans to maintain everything, most of our technology is failing." On the mining world of Asteroid Belt 7, the situation was desperate. The world produced rare metals that were needed on hundreds of other planets. But without human workers and human machines, the mines had stopped working. "We need to contact the Galactic Council," said Mine Director Cruel. He was a rock creature who had run the mines for 50 years. "They must force the humans to return." His assistant, a bug-like alien named Zik, shook his head. "I tried to send a message yesterday. The quantum relay is dead. It will take 3 months for a signal to reach the core worlds." Cruel looked at the broken mining equipment around him. The humans had maintained all of it. When they left, they took their knowledge with them. Now the complex machines were just expensive metal sculptures. "How long can we keep operating?" Cruel asked. "The food supplies will last 1 week," Zik said. "After that, we'll have to abandon the planet." Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. On the industrial world of Factory Prime, the automated production lines had stopped working. The aliens who ran the factories did not know how to fix the human-designed machinery. On the agricultural world of Green Haven, the space-based farming systems were failing. The aliens had never learned how the complex systems worked. They had always just called human technicians when something broke. But the worst crisis was happening on the frontier worlds. Captain Vorth commanded a small alien defense fleet near the edge of the galaxy. His job was to protect 3 colony worlds from pirates and raiders. But his ships were old and slow. He had always depended on human warships to do the real fighting. "Captain, we're receiving distress calls from Colony Beta," said his communications officer. "They're under attack by the Nexus pirates." Vorth looked at his tactical display. The pirates had 12 fast attack ships. Vorth had only 6 old cruisers. "Where is Admiral Morrison's fleet?" Vorth asked. "The humans have recalled all their military forces," his officer replied. "Admiral Morrison left last week." Vorth felt his heart sink. Morrison's fleet had been the most powerful force in this sector. Without them, the pirates could attack anyone they wanted. "Set course for Colony Beta," Vorth ordered. Full speed, but his ships were too slow and too weak. By the time they arrived, Colony Beta was burning. The pirates had stolen everything, valuable, and killed anyone who fought back. "This is impossible," Vorth said. "How can we protect 3 worlds with 6 old ships?" His tactical officer, a wise old alien named Merc, shook his head sadly. We can't, Captain. Without the humans, we're defenseless. Back on the capital world, Council Prime Zektar was discovering just how bad things had become. Prime, I have. The latest report by, said his assistant Vix. 17 colony worlds have gone silent. We think they've been destroyed by pirates or raiders. What about our military response? Zektar asked. Our fleets are scattered across the galaxy. Without the jump gates, it will take months for them to reach the threatened areas. By then it will be too late. Zektar walked to his window and looked out at the capital city. Even here, in the heart of galactic civilization, things were falling apart. The power grid was failing without human maintenance. The water recycling systems were breaking down. Food was becoming scarce as supply ships failed to arrive. How did we become so dependent on one species? He asked. Vix looked uncomfortable. The reports from our historians say it happened gradually. Over 200 years, the humans volunteered to help with more and more systems. They were so good at solving problems that we let them handle everything technical. And now they're gone. Yes, Prime. And they took all their knowledge with them. On Earth's moon, Dr. Lisa Turner was monitoring alien communications. She and her team were listening to the desperate messages flying between alien worlds. They're starting to panic, she reported to Admiral Jake Morrison. Food riots have started on 12 worlds. The mining colonies are being abandoned. 3 major trade companies have declared bankruptcy. Jake nodded grimly. Any attempts to contact us? Hundreds, Lisa said. They're offering everything they can think of. Money, territory, political positions. The Council of Alpha Centauri offered to make humanity the ruling species of their entire sector. What did you tell them? Nothing. President Rodriguez's orders are clear. No contact until they're ready to meet our terms. Jake looked at the tactical display that showed the galaxy. Red dots marked worlds that had gone silent. Yellow dots showed worlds in crisis. Green dots marked stable worlds. There were very few green dots left. How long do you think it will take? Jake asked. Dr. Lisa Turner smiled. At this rate, maybe 2 more months. The core worlds will fall last, but even they can't survive without the infrastructure we built. And Earth? Earth is doing better than ever. All our resources are staying home now. Our best scientists are working on projects for humanity instead of solving alien problems. Our military can focus on defending our own people. Jake nodded. For 200 years, humanity had been the galaxy's servants. They had built the technology that kept everything running. They had maintained the systems that made modern life possible. They had fought the wars that kept the peace. The aliens had taken all of this for granted. They had treated humans like slaves who should be grateful for the chance to serve their betters. Now the aliens were learning what happened when you pushed your most valuable allies too far. The galaxy was collapsing. And it was only the beginning. Soon, the aliens would be desperate enough to accept any terms humanity offered. They would have no choice. The Great Collapse had begun, and humanity was just getting started. Captain Ben Harris stood on the bridge of the Earthship Horizon. His job was to watch what was happening in the galaxy without being seen. His ship used new stealth technology that made it invisible to alien sensors. "Report, Lieutenant," Ben said to his intelligence officer, Dan Miller. Dan looked at his screens with amazement. "Sir, it's worse than we thought. 3 whole star systems have gone completely dark. No communications, no ship traffic, nothing." "Pirates?" Ben asked. "Some of it, yes, but most systems are just dying. Without our infrastructure, they can't maintain basic civilization." Ben nodded. It had been 6 months since Earth severed ties with the galaxy. The collapse was happening faster than anyone had predicted. On his main screen, Ben watched a once great trading station drift empty in space. The station had been home to 2 million aliens from dozens of species. Now it was a dead hulk of metal. "What happened here?" Ben asked. "The power systems failed," Dan explained. "The aliens couldn't fix them without human engineers. The life support died. Everyone had to evacuate." Through his ship's sensors, Ben could see hundreds of similar stations throughout the galaxy. All dead. all abandoned. On Earth, President Amy Rodriguez was meeting with her top advisors. The conference room was bright and clean. Outside the windows, Earth City sparkled with new construction. The planet was thriving. "The latest reports from our scouts are ready," said Intelligence Chief Dan Miller. He had been promoted after his excellent work with Captain Harris. "Tell me what's happening out there," Amy said. Dan activated a holographic display of the galaxy. Most of it was now colored red. 70% of all alien worlds are in crisis, Dan began. Food shortages, power failures, communications breakdowns. The core worlds are holding on, but barely. "What about their military?" asked General Rick Thompson. "Their fleets are scattered and mostly powerless. Without jump gates, it takes months to move ships between systems. Pirates and raiders are having a field day." Amy studied the display. "Any major conflicts?" 3 full-scale wars have broken out. The Rigel Alliance is fighting the Vega Federation over the remaining food supplies. The Crystal Empire is trying to conquer the metal worlds to steal their technology. And the core worlds are fighting everyone to protect what's left of their territory. Dr. Steve Parker, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "The most interesting part is what they're fighting with. Most of their advanced weapons don't work anymore. They're using old chemical rockets and projectile weapons." Amy smiled slightly. "They're going backward." "Exactly. Without human technology, they're reverting to primitive warfare. On the alien world of New Rigel, the situation was desperate. The planet had once been a shining example of galactic civilization. Beautiful crystal cities reached into the sky. Advanced transportation systems moved millions of beings every day. Vast computer networks managed everything from weather control to food distribution. Now the cities were dark. The transportation systems were broken. The computer networks had crashed. Governor Yultar stood in what used to be his office. Half the lights were out. The air recycling system made strange noises. Through his broken windows, he could see smoke rising from riots in the lower city. "How much food do we have left?" he asked his aide. "Maybe 2 weeks, Governor." The hydroponic farm stopped working when the power grid failed. Yultar closed his eyes. New Rigel was home to 50 million beings. Without food, they would all die. "What about other worlds? Can anyone help us?" His aide looked scared. "We've sent messages to 12 nearby systems. Only 3 have responded. They're all having the same problems we are." "And the Galactic Council?" No response. "We think the capital world is having its own crisis." Outside the window, another building caught fire. The emergency services had stopped working weeks ago when the computer systems failed. On the other side of the galaxy, things were even worse. The prison world of Detention Alpha had been humanity's responsibility for 50 years. Human guards had watched over the galaxy's most dangerous criminals. Human engineers had maintained the containment systems that kept the prisoners locked up. When the humans left, they took their security codes with them. Warden Klex was a tough alien who looked like an armored bear. He had run Detention Alpha for 20 years, but now he was facing his worst nightmare. "Sir, we have a problem," said his security chief. "The containment fields in Block 7 are failing." "Can we fix them?" Klex asked. "No, sir. The systems are too complex. Only human technicians knew how to maintain them." Klex looked at his security monitors. Block 7 held 300 of the galaxy's most violent criminals. If they escaped, they would kill everyone on the planet. "How long do we have?" "Hours, maybe less." Klex made a hard decision. "Evacuate all personnel. Send out a distress call. Tell everyone to stay away from this system." Within 6 hours, Detention Alpha was abandoned. The criminals had taken over the prison and were now loose in space with stolen ships and weapons. They were not the only dangerous group that had been freed by the collapse. Across the galaxy, military bases had been abandoned when their systems failed. Weapons stockpiles had been looted. Research stations had been destroyed. The galaxy was becoming a very dangerous place. On Earth, engineer Sarah Blake was working on something amazing. Her job was to develop new technologies for humanity's future. The fusion reactors are working perfectly. she reported to Dr. Steve Parker. "We're producing more power than ever before." "What about the manufacturing plants?" Steve asked. "They're running at full capacity. We're building everything we need right here on Earth. Better than that, we're building things the aliens never dreamed of." Steve nodded. While the galaxy fell apart, Earth was advancing faster than ever. All the resources that used to flow to alien worlds now stayed home. All the brilliant human minds that used to solve alien problems now worked on human projects. Earth had developed new medical technology that could cure diseases that had killed people for thousands of years. They had built new ships that could travel faster and farther than anything aliens had ever made. They had created new computers that could think and learn like living beings. "The isolation experiment is working," Sarah said. "We're proving that humanity doesn't need the galaxy. The galaxy needs humanity." Back in space, Captain Ben Harris was observing the final collapse of the Galactic Council. "Sir, you need to see this," Lieutenant Dan Miller said. "We're picking up communications from the capital world." On the main screen, Ben could see the once mighty capital city of Centaurus. The great towers that had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years were now dark and broken. Smoke rose from burning districts. Refugee ships filled the sky as beings tried to escape. "What are they saying?" Ben asked. Dan filtered the alien communications. "They're blaming each other for driving away the humans. Some species are saying, 'This is all the Council's fault.' Others are calling for war against humanity." "War against humanity?" Ben laughed. "With what? Their fleets are scattered. Their weapons don't work. Their planets are starving." "That's the crazy part, sir. They still think they're stronger than us. They don't realize that we were holding their entire civilization together." Ben shook his head. Even now, facing total collapse, the aliens couldn't accept the truth. They had been dependent on humanity for everything important. Without humans, they were just primitive tribes fighting over scraps. "Any word from Earth?" Ben asked. "President Rodriguez wants us to continue monitoring. She says the aliens aren't desperate enough yet." Ben looked at the tactical display. The galaxy was dying. Billions of aliens were suffering. Entire civilizations were disappearing. But Earth was safe. Earth was thriving. And Earth was getting stronger every day. Soon, very soon, the aliens would have to choose. They could accept humanity's terms and be saved. Or they could keep their pride and watch their worlds burn. Ben suspected he knew which choice they would make. Aliens were many things, but they were not stupid enough to choose death over life. The universe was in chaos, but humanity was just getting started. 2 years had passed since Earth severed ties with the galaxy. President Amy Rodriguez stood in her office, looking at reports from across human space. Earth was not just surviving, it was thriving like never before. "The latest numbers are incredible," said Dr. Lisa Turner, who was now Earth's Minister of Technology. "Our industrial output has increased by 300%. Our scientific research is advancing faster than ever. We've solved problems that we worked on for decades." Amy nodded with satisfaction. "What about our defenses?" "Better than we ever imagined," said General Rick Thompson. "The new defense grid can stop any attack from anywhere in the galaxy. Our ships are faster and stronger than anything the aliens ever built. We could defend Earth against every alien fleet combined." On her desk, a red light started blinking. That meant an important message from their scouts in alien space. "Put Captain Harris through," Amy said. Captain Ben Harris appeared on the screen. Behind him, the bridge of his scout ship looked clean and modern. It was a sharp contrast to the broken alien worlds he had been watching. "Madam President, we have a situation. A group of alien ambassadors has reached the edge of our solar system. They're requesting permission to approach Earth." "How many ships?" asked General Thompson. "Just 3 small vessels. They look like they're barely holding together. Our sensors show they're carrying representatives from what's left of the major alien governments." Amy thought about this. For 2 years, Earth had ignored all alien communications. They had watched the galaxy collapse without offering help. Now the aliens were coming to Earth in person. "Are they armed?" Amy asked. "No weapons that we can detect." Their ships are so old and damaged I doubt they could threaten a cargo hauler. Amy looked at her advisors. What do you think? It's time, said Ambassador Kate Wells. She had been preparing for this moment for months. The galaxy is broken. They need us more than we could ever need them. We can dictate whatever terms we want. Amy made her decision. Allow them to approach, but they land at the military base in Nevada. Full security. And make sure they see our new ships and weapons. I want them to understand exactly who they're dealing with. 3 hours later, the alien ships landed on Earth. The vessels were pitiful things. Old, rusty, and barely spaceworthy. They looked like museum pieces compared to the sleek human ships that surrounded them. From the ships came the most powerful beings in what remained of galactic civilization. But they looked nothing like the proud aliens who had once commanded humanity. Council Prime Zektar was there, but he was not the same creature who had dismissed human concerns 2 years ago. His scales were dull and patched. His many eyes were dim with exhaustion. He walked with a limp and his claws were chipped. Trade Minister Velnoth was with him, looking even worse. The fish-like alien's fins were torn and his artificial breathing apparatus was clearly failing. He wheezed with each breath. There were others, governors from the core worlds, military commanders from dying fleets, representatives from species that were facing extinction. They were escorted by human soldiers to a meeting room in the base. The room was simple but clean. Through the windows, they could see Earth's blue sky and green forests. Many of the aliens had not seen a healthy world in months. President Amy Rodriguez entered the room with her advisors. She wore a simple business suit, but everyone could feel the power she represented. Behind her, the humans looked healthy, confident, and strong. The aliens looked like refugees. Amy sat at the head of the table. She did not offer the traditional galactic greeting. She did not smile or make small talk. She simply waited for the aliens to speak. Zektar struggled to his feet. In the old days, humans would have stood when he entered a room. Now he was standing for a human. President Rodriguez, he began, his voice cracking. The remaining governments of the galaxy request, we ask for... He stopped. The words were too hard to say. You ask for what? Amy said coldly. Help, Zektar whispered. We need help. Amy leaned back in her chair. Help with what? Trade Minister Velnoth spoke up, his voice weak and gasping. Everything. Our worlds are dying. Our people are starving. Our technology has failed. We cannot survive without you. I see, Amy said. And what are you offering in return? The aliens looked at each other desperately. In the old days, they would have offered humans the honor of serving the greater good. Now they knew that was not enough. Anything, said Governor Yultar from New Rigel. We will give you anything you want, Amy smiled, but it was not a kind smile. Anything? That's a very dangerous word to use with humans. She activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy. Most of it was red, indicating dead or dying worlds. Only a few green dots remained, and those were fading fast. This is what your galaxy looks like now, Amy said. 75% of all inhabited worlds are dead or abandoned. The remaining 25% are failing rapidly. Your trade networks have collapsed. Your military forces have been scattered or destroyed. Your governments have fallen. The aliens stared at the display in horror. Seeing it all laid out like this made the catastrophe seem even worse. In 2 years, you went from ruling the galaxy to barely surviving in a few dozen systems. Amy continued. Do you know why? Because we lost you, Zektar said quietly. No, Amy said sharply. Because you never had us in the first place. You had slaves, you had servants, you had people who did all your work while you took all the credit. But you never had partners. You never had allies. You never had friends. She stood up and walked to the window. Outside, human children were playing in a park. They looked happy and healthy. While your worlds burned, Earth flourished, Amy said. Our population is healthier than ever. Our technology has advanced by centuries. Our economy is booming. Our military is the strongest force in the galaxy. She turned back to face the aliens. We don't need you. We never needed you. But you need us for everything. Ambassador Kate Wells opened a folder and placed documents on the table. These are our terms, Kate said. Earth will provide aid to rebuild galactic civilization. We will restore communications networks, repair jump gates, and provide food and medical supplies to your dying worlds. The aliens reached for the documents eagerly. In return, Kate continued, Earth will become the sole governing authority of the galaxy. All major decisions will be made by human leadership. All military forces will be under human command. All trade will be regulated by human agencies. Zektar's eyes widened as he read the terms. This makes humanity the rulers of everything. Yes, Amy said simply. It does. But what about our sovereignty, our independence? Amy laughed. Your sovereignty, your independence, you gave up both of those the moment you became dependent on us for everything important. You just didn't realize it until we left. She walked back to the table and leaned forward. Here's the choice. Accept our terms and we'll save what's left of your civilizations. Reject our terms and we'll go back to Earth and watch you finish destroying yourselves. The aliens whispered frantically among themselves in their various languages, but they all knew there was really no choice at all. How long do we have to decide? Asked Trade Minister Velnoth. You don't, Amy said. You decide right now. We have other things to do. Zektar looked around the table at his fellow aliens. They were the last leaders of a dying galactic civilization. They had ruled the stars for thousands of years. Now they were begging one small world to save them. We accept, he said. Amy nodded to Kate Wells, who activated a recording device. For the record, Kate said, the surviving governments of the Galactic Council formally recognize Earth as the supreme authority over all inhabited worlds. You transfer all governmental, military, and economic control to human leadership. This agreement is binding for all time. One by one, the alien leaders spoke their acceptance into the recorder. Their voices were quiet and defeated. When it was done, Amy stood up. Welcome to the new galactic order, she said. Admiral Morrison will coordinate the relief efforts. Ambassador Wells will establish the new governmental structure. General Thompson will organize your military forces under human command. She paused at the door and looked back at the aliens. You should have thought about this before you tried to steal our quantum drive technology, she said. Now you get to see what happens when you push humans too far. The door closed behind her, leaving the aliens alone with the ruins of their former empire. Outside, Earth's sun was setting over the mountains. In the distance, human ships prepared to launch toward the dying galaxy, not as servants or helpers, but as conquerors and rulers. The age of alien dominance was over. The age of humanity had begun, and the universe would never be the same.